The air in Pinewood Estates was always heavy with the scent of cedar and ambition, but on that sweltering 4th of July weekend, it carried something else: deception. My wife, Emily, and I had moved into our sprawling colonial home a year ago, hoping for a quiet suburban life where our kids could ride bikes and we could grill in peace. Instead, we found ourselves in the crosshairs of Margaret Voss, the neighborhood's self-appointed queen, whose charm masked a ruthless hunger for control. What started as a petty dispute over a backyard party spiraled into a chilling conspiracy that threatened to strip us of everything we'd built. I'm Tom Bradley, 38, a former Navy logistics officer now running a small cybersecurity firm from home. Emily is the heart of our family, patient, quick to laugh, and the kind of person who leaves cookies on neighbors' porches. Pinewood was our fresh start after years of military moves, a place to plant roots. But Margaret Voss, the Homeowners Association chair, had other plans. Mid-50s, with a polished smile and a penchant for tailored blazers, Margaret wielded her authority like a scepter. She'd knock on doors with a clipboard, citing violations like unapproved mailbox colors or hedges an inch too tall. Most neighbors complied, too tired to fight. We should have known she'd come for us. It began that Friday when Emily planned a small barbecue for our kids' friends and a few neighbors. The backyard was alive with laughter, the grill sizzling with burgers. Then Margaret appeared at our gate, her son Caleb trailing behind, a lanky 24-year-old with a drone controller in hand and a smirk that screamed trouble. "Tom, Emily," Margaret called, her voice syrupy but sharp. "This gathering exceeds the HOA's noise limit. You didn't file a permit." I frowned. "It's a dozen kids and a Bluetooth speaker on low." She tapped her clipboard. "Rules are rules. And Caleb's allergic to smoke, so you'll need to douse that grill." Emily, ever diplomatic, offered to move the party indoors. Margaret's eyes narrowed. "You're hosting without clearance. I'll have to report this." Before we could respond, Caleb's drone buzzed overhead, its camera glinting. "Just documenting," he said, grinning. I felt my stomach twist. This wasn't about noise. By evening, Margaret had emailed the entire neighborhood, accusing us of reckless endangerment for exposing Caleb to smoke. She demanded we cancel future gatherings or face fines. Our neighbor, Luis, a mechanic who'd joined us for burgers, pulled me aside. "She's done this before, man. She'll twist anything to get her way." I nodded, but Emily was shaken. "She's making us sound like monsters," she whispered, scrolling through the email thread piling up with neighbors' complaints. That night, I couldn't sleep, replaying Caleb's drone hovering like a vulture. I'd seen surveillance tactics in the Navy. This was no amateur move. Saturday morning brought a knock at 6:45 a.m. Two men in security vests stood at our door, Margaret behind them with a thick envelope. "Mr. Bradley," one said, "your property access is restricted pending an HOA review for safety violations." Emily gasped. "Restricted? This is our home." Margaret's smile was ice cold. "You endangered my son." The board voted for an emergency suspension. Luis, who'd come over to borrow a wrench, exploded. "This is a shakedown." But the guards blocked our driveway, turning away our kids' friends. I called my old Navy contact, Officer Dana Pierce, who explained the HOA could enforce its own rules if they skirted legal boundaries. Margaret had planned this perfectly. I'd been tracking Margaret's moves since we moved in, rumors of rigged votes, missing community funds, and permits granted only to her allies. My cybersecurity background made me paranoid enough to save emails and record HOA meetings. That afternoon, I opened my laptop and found a trail of payments from the HOA to a consulting firm owned elderly. "Margaret's cousin owns it," I said. "This is bigger than a barbecue." Sunday, the stakes rose. Margaret posted a video on the HOA's private forum, standing tearfully in front of our house. "Some residents prioritize their own comfort over our children's safety," she said, panning to Caleb coughing dramatically. Comments flooded in, "Selfish newcomers. Kick them out." I recorded my own response, standing on our porch. "I'm Tom Bradley, Navy vet, homeowner. Margaret Voss fabricated a health crisis to lock us out of our own property. I have proof of her funneling HOA funds to her cousin's firm. Let's talk transparency." I posted it online, and it spread fast. Neighbors like Luis sent more evidence: shady contracts, buried complaints. But that night, A drone buzzed our backyard again. Then a rock smashed our kitchen window, a note taped to it. Leave or lose everything. Emily bandaged our son's scraped hand, her own shaking. I called Dana, who arrived in minutes, bagging the rock as evidence. Margaret's desperate, she warned. She'll double down. At midnight, our power cut out. Footsteps crunched outside. I grabbed my flashlight, an old service pistol, heart pounding. Through the window, I saw Caleb, camera strapped to his chest, filming in the dark. Get out, I shouted. He laughed. This house isn't yours anymore. Louise flung open the door, yelling, but Caleb slipped into the shadows. I called my cybersecurity partner, Zoe, who traced his drone to his tech startup, Horizon Scope, known for shady HOA surveillance gigs. He's building a case to frame you as aggressors, Zoe said, pulling metadata showing Caleb's edited footage. We took it all to Channel 9's Rachel Holt, a reporter who thrived on corruption stories. Her broadcast, HOA Tyranny, Homeowner Fights Back, aired that evening, exposing Caleb's doctored videos next to Zoe's originals. The story went viral. Neighbors shared their own Margaret horror stories, extorted fees, blocked permits. The State Oversight Board called, citing our case for a broader investigation. Monday, Margaret showed up alone, eyes red, offering her resignation if we dropped our lawsuit. You turned a barbecue into a witch hunt, I said, handing her a drive with every illicit transaction. She left silently, her resignation notarized. But Caleb wasn't finished. A glossy flyer in our mailbox announced Pinewood Heights, a luxury condo project by his new Voss Realty Group, with permits already filed. I filed an injunction, citing his fraud. At a Channel 9 town hall, I exposed everything: drones, rocks, fake videos, and the condo scheme. Over 200 neighbors cheered, holding signs, "Save our homes." The zoning board froze Caleb's project. He was charged with fraud and intimidation. Margaret sold her house and vanished. We rebuilt. Emily started a kids' art club, Louise built a community shed, and a new volunteer led fairly. But I kept the cameras up. Caleb's kind don't quit. The estate was ours again, but peace is a battlefield, and we'd learned to fight with truth.